So last year, the estate of Ian Fleming decided to reclaim the rights to Ian Fleming's James Bond books from the traditional publisher who owned them, which was Harper. And they have become Ian Fleming Publications. They're basically self-publishing the James Bond books. And that is such a wild and cool thing. And as somebody who is obsessed with self-publishing and how self-published authors can become, able to support their family through their writing, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the opportunities that I think Ian Fleming Publications have to, to grow and develop and to become something incredible, maybe like, one of the pioneers in the next 5 years of the publishing industry, and also how they can showcase and highlight and bring to the surface the talents of some incredible authors. So, if that sounds vaguely interesting, stay tuned, and we'll be right back to talk about it. Hi guys, it's me, and I'm here for a rant. I'm here for a rant today, I don't care who knows it. I was thinking about Ian Fleming Publications, and I've made a lot of videos about IFP, as we call them, and not all of them have been very complimentary, because I'm very, very salty about the fact that they decided to censor the works of Ian Fleming when they republished them. But, that's a different issue. Let's push that aside for a second and talk about the opportunity that Ian Fleming Publications has created for themselves. It is one of the things that I've found most exciting in the publishing industry was last year when the estate of Ian Fleming decided to reclaim the rights to the books of Ian Fleming and all of the subsequent books to Ian Fleming as well, like the continuation novels, and republish them under their own imprint, Ian Fleming Publications. As somebody who just lives and breathes self-publishing, this was incredibly exciting. I mean, you have here perhaps the most recognizable and culturally significant literary figure now footloose and fancy-free. The estate of Ian Fleming are able to do whatever they want with James Bond, but they better do it quick because the clock is ticking. The copyright of James Bond, it's already expired in Canada, and it is expiring, I think it's 2035 that it runs out. But for a few years, the estate of Ian Fleming has the opportunity to do incredible things. And I'm making this video because I'm not even sure if they're aware of just how incredible the opportunities that await them are. Because self-publishing, oh my god, it's an amazing, amazing sphere to be in right now. Traditional publishing is dead. I mean, that's the whole reason Ian Fleming Publications decided to exist. They were like, Harper and HarperCollins, they're not doing enough for us. Let's take back the rights to Ian Fleming and do it ourselves. And that's the thing. Everybody has the opportunity to do what you need to do to be successful in publishing yourselves. I know for a fact that it is possible to make more money as a self-published author than you could possibly make through going down the traditional publishing route. I mean, I'm sitting here today, I checked my figures, it's 69,109 copies of my books I've sold. Nearly $300,000 in royalties I've made, and I'm just some guy who writes books, and I haven't even written a book in 2 years. The opportunities right now for self-published authors have never existed before in history, and there are so many authors who are making livings from writing books. And then you have Ian Fleming Publications, who are able to do anything they want, and they also have the intellectual property of the most recognizable literary figure in modern history. And they've already knocked it out of the park. They embraced that opportunity with the book they published earlier this year on His Majesty's Secret Service by Charlie Higson. I mean, that was a masterstroke. In 2 months, they went from nothing to, hey, Charlie, you wrote those young Bond books. Do you fancy writing a James Bond book that we could publish before the coronation? It's in 2 months, by the way. And then Charlie Higson wrote it, and then they published it, and they shipped it out, and it was bloody good. They made a few mistakes, I'm not going to lie. So I was chatting to Caleb Daniels from Commando Bond, and he had ordered a copy of On His Majesty's Secret Service the day it was published. It's obviously in the US. He got the second printing, which is called 002. It's interesting. I got the first edition, and it has like 1 as the edition. His is 002, which is kind of cute. But it was shipped to him, and it was like a bit malformed because whatever's going on with their printing of the books is causing a problem, because the deliveries in the US are hugely delayed, and then you have like books that shouldn't be sold shipped out to customers. Those are like teething problems. But I mean, considering this was their first swing at the bat, what Ian Fleming Publications managed to achieve was incredible. Charlie Higson wrote a really, really entertaining book. It was a fantastic book. As far as the James Bond continuation novels know, I was, there for it. They managed to get hardback editions out to people, even in the US, within 2 weeks. I mean, Ian Fleming Publications knocked that out of the park. And the thing is that there is an enormous opportunity for them to take that further. And what they need to do is stop thinking in terms of traditional publishing and think in terms of what self-publishing looks like and the opportunities that exist for self-publishing. And the world of self-publishing is completely different. I mean, just as the basic fact line with self-publishing, for example, is the fact that an author will receive 70% of the proceeds of the books that they sell, as opposed to 10% through a traditional publishing deal. So, for me, for example, I need to sell 1 book to get the same amount of money as I would through selling 7 books through a traditional publishing contract. And that gives a company like IFP, who owns the intellectual property of James Bond, incredible opportunity to give authors the chance to make a really nice paycheck from writing a James Bond book without necessarily having to like throw out a huge amount of cash beforehand. If an ebook gives you 70% royalties, imagine if you went out to an author, a previous James Bond author. We got Charlie Higson writing the last one for His Majesty's Secret Service. Imagine you reached out to like Jeffrey Deaver or Raymond Benson and said, listen, you write us a James Bond book, we get 70% of the royalties, we'll give you 35% of the royalties, which is probably quite a handsome amount, and then see where it goes. And they have the opportunity to get authors to write books for them, and the authors will receive more money than they would have done otherwise, and Ian Fleming would have received money that they wouldn't have done otherwise because they're publishing a book. And it involves very little like outlay or risk. I mean, obviously the author has the risk of writing a book and then seeing what royalties come in, but the fact is you're writing a James Bond book, and James Bond books, I'm going to buy every single James Bond book that comes out. Who are you kidding? And there are thousands of James Bond fans who will do exactly the same thing. And I don't know, from a self-publishing perspective, there's a great guy in self-publishing called Nick Stevenson, and he wrote a book called 10,000 Readers. And he basically explained that, if you're an author, self-published author, and you can get a group of 10,000 readers to buy every book that you publish, and you publish a book every 3 months or so, then you have a 6-figure income for life. And you think, if you own the intellectual property of James Bond, getting 10,000 readers, I mean, that's nothing. That's a drop in the ocean. Like, there are so many thousands of readers out there. I believe the first hardback edition of On His Majesty's Secret Service, they printed 10,000 copies and they sold out of that within weeks. So just think of the ebook opportunities. So, it's there. The audience is there. And all Ian Fleming Publications need to do is take advantage of it. And it's wildly exciting. People have been joking about, like, oh, they did the Money Pony Diaries, and now they're doing Kim Sherwood's 00 trilogy, in which James Bond isn't there. What else are they going to do? The Felix Leiter Mysteries? And you know what? Yeah, do that. Do the Felix Leiter Mysteries. Let's get Raymond Benson, who is a good old Texas boy, to write a trilogy of books from the perspective of Felix Leiter. I would be down for that. I would buy every single copy. And Ian Fleming Publications has the opportunity to do this right now. They could pick up the phone tomorrow and call Raymond Benson and be like, "Hey, Ray, how you doing? Do you fancy writing a trilogy of books about Felix Leiter?" And I'm pretty sure he wouldn't say no. And I'm pretty sure he would do an amazing job at it. And I'm pretty sure that Bond fans like me would buy it in an instant. And you just think that idea right there, if they implemented that, would be $100,000 idea for them. Oh, the Moneypenny Diaries. I mean, they were an interesting experiment in traditional publishing. They wrote 3 books. They were very good books. Why not publish more? Why not publish more Moneypenny books? Why not publish the Q books? Why don't we have a series of books through the eyes of Q? You could have a series of books through the eyes of Q when he was a young man. I don't know. You could have a book about Winton Kidd. In fact, License to Queer, David Trowbridge Ellis, he linked recently to a short story about Wint and Kidd, the gay assassins in Diamonds Are Forever. And it was a fantastic short story. That short story, Ian Fleming Publications should buy and publish. There is so much opportunity to take the Wild West of all of these James Bond stories that haven't been published yet and print them and publish them under the stamp of Ian Fleming Publications. James Bond is only a dip in the ocean. It really is. It's like you stink your toe in the ocean. That's what James Bond is through the world of James Bond. Think of all the incredible stories that are all related to the characters of James Bond. I remember once I wrote a synopsis for a book about Goldfinger. I was like, hey, what if you wrote the autobiography? No, not the autobiography, sorry. What if you wrote the biography of Goldfinger, this tiny little ginger bloke who grew up in Latvia and then became this millionaire with his weird sexual fetishes and his 6 foot tall Korean manservant who could chop things off with his top hat or his shoes. It was his shoes in his book, wasn't it? But think of that, all of these different stories. All Ian Fleming Publications needs to do is reach out to the authors and say, hey, can you write this book? We'll publish it under Ian Fleming Publications imprint. And it'll be available as an ebook, and it'll be available worldwide as print on demand. And people would buy it. They have the opportunity to just create this onslaught of amazing content right now. It's almost like somebody just handed Stan Lee 30 years ago all of the intellectual properties of Marvel Comics. I mean, imagine that. It's like we got so excited when Spider-Man turned up in Captain America because it's like, oh, the rights to Spider-Man were owned by Sony, so we'll never see him in the MCU, and then he was there. And they had this amazing film that actually featured Spider-Man. That's what you can do now. Ian Fleming Publications have the keys to the kingdom. The only other people who have any input into James Bond are Eon, and Eon for some reason are doing nothing. So Ian Fleming Publications can do everything, and what they don't understand is that fans like me are here for it. We will pay money for whatever it is you create. You give us a trilogy of books about Felix Leiter, I will buy them. You give me the next 3 books in the Moneypenny Diary series, I will buy them. You give me the Q adventures, I will buy them. Like, that's the thing. We're here for it. We're James Bond fans. We love James Bond. We love the literary James Bond. We read books. We are here waiting to give you our money. So don't disappoint us. Give us what we want. Come on. You've got everything. You have everything. And all you need to do is just grasp the opportunity. And you have no idea how wildly successful you can be. So Ian Fleming Publications, the ball is in your court. Don't let us down, because you have the keys to an amazing thing right now, and there's nothing stopping you from being so wildly successful you can't even imagine it, except yourselves. So you know what? Do it. Come on. Give us what we want. We are all here for it. Right. Anyway, with that rant, I will leave you be. Oh, sorry, label out. Yeah, wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be fun to like have 10 good years of amazing onslaught of James Bond content. I am there for it, baby. Let's do it.
I'm Roland Hume. I've sold 67,000 copies of my books. If you want to find out how I did it, I've got a link right here you can click. And otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. I've got more videos coming soon. Thank you.